do not do wrong, you'll be surprised how many people do wrong because they think it's impossible to do right. Are you getting my picture? The moment you do the right thing, they no longer have an excuse. I still remember those days when I was doing the driving test. A policeman says, we are corrupt, you can't help. So I said, no. I know a brother in South B police station who doesn't do those things. So you need to set yourself as an example, because slowly you'll give other people no opportunity to do wrong. You'll be surprised there are many people who come from Christian families, they were taught the right things, but now the reason they do wrong is because they believe they can't do right. The situation is too far. For example, if you stand on your whatever ethics and actually get fired, do you know how many people will be affected? He allowed himself to be fired. Of course, in their mind, they will say he is a fool. But they'll be saying, that means if I have to be a Christian, I need to be able to make a stand like that. Then, they'll be following your story. They want to know whether you're going to die of hunger. When they discover that the Lord is still walking with you and providing, it removes the excuse of them being corrupt. So it's important to understand, as salt, you are supposed to preserve. Number two, I think Wangari Maathai said something similar, and I think that we need to be aware about it. We must refuse to do something because others are doing. You know, the story told of this boy who was walking at the seaside, and there has just been a tsunami, and a lot of fish are thrown onto the dry land, and they are dying one after the other. So a young boy, 9-year-olds, stand there sympathetic. Now the sun has come back, the storm is over, and he is picking one fish at a time and throwing it to the sea, because he knows the one, if he is able to do that, he will not die. Then an old man passing asks, young man, what are you doing? Saving the fish from dying. He says, can't you see they're in the houses? Even if you stay here the whole day, what fraction will you have helped? The boy realized the Messiah is right. What am I doing? Surely it's overwhelming. Then a thought came back. He told the Messiah, you are right, but this particular one will not die. He picked another one and threw it to the ocean. And the boy was right, isn't it? What is killing this country is to feel like you are hopeless, you are all alone. What difference will it make? And this question is suggesting something like that. Are you getting it? So we need to leave this meeting totally committed to playing our role as an example. But number two, I suggest to you that every church in Kenya should form an anti-corruption fellowship. Meeting once a month with an accountability. How many times have you bribed this month? What happened? That you ended up bribing. How can you stop bribing from now onwards? Am I communicating? Yeah, and by the way, I've been the chairman of an organization called EONET, Ethical Leadership Network. And we have been moving from church to church, starting business fellowships, so that businessmen can tell each other. You know, when you are alone, you are alone. But now you get about 10, 20 businessmen, all doing the right thing. You know, slowly you are gathering storm, isn't it? And I think we need to do that, because it is such a big issue. It's not enough to preach. You need mentoring each other. Are we together? Where you actually meet, and the subject, only once a month, 1 hour only, the subject is simply to hold each other to account. I know you imported a car. How much did you bribe at Mombasa? I didn't. So how long was your car delayed? Because you refused to bribe. You discover some people don't bribe at all, and their car still came on time. Yet your agent is telling you it's impossible. But now among you you get good examples. Can you see you are, and if we started all churches in Meru town, can you see the change? Thirdly, and importantly, we need to enter all careers. You know, police are very powerful, but there are very few people willing to become policemen. Maybe some of you in your 40s, there's about 20 years to being 60. Please apply to go to the Gajo College. Because they are given a job. And it's something very, anyway, that's on the only area. We need to volunteer ourselves. Because normally we run away from it. Am I right? Where you hear corruption is thickest, apply for a job there. Knowing very well you will be fired. But when you are fired, you leave a testimony. But you go there knowing this is the kind of place you can't last. You know, one of the churches among the 7 churches in Revelation chapter 2 and 7 said, I know, that's the Lord telling the church, I know where you live, where the devil has his throne. Have you read it? In other words, the Lord knows where you are working, Satan has his, but they are committed. Because they have not given in. They have not compromised. So we need to stop running away from areas of. I get a number of questions with young people telling me, should I resign? Don't. I knew as I worked that the people were trying to get rid of me. There's a time when I was I was in middle management, so there was only 5 people above me in top management, and I could see one of them had felt anointed to get rid of me. But what he was trying to do is to get me to resign. And when I told my wife, I know I may not work for sure for long, but the Lord is the one who will determine the date. If he allows them to fire me, it means he is willing to get me another job. Am I communicating? So you are there knowing they want to get rid of you. But if you get rid of you, it now becomes easier to do corruption. Do you know it requires only one person to stop corruption? Because there is no check that's signed by one person. The voucher has 2 people, the check has several. If one of them stops, will that process end? You need to understand that a lot of people here who are corrupt, they themselves get nothing, but they are the ones who sign for others to get the money. So that a lot of Christians will not accept a bribe, they will not give a bribe, but they will facilitate a bribe. So you need to come to where that can happen when you are the one. So go to places where corruption. In fact, the reason I became district manager of Shell was because of those problems with the contractors, Arabs, Somalis. I used to be the manager in the 1980s. I was the Shell manager in Kisumu. I was actually ranked by the CEO from Kisumu on a Friday, and he said, I want you in my office on Monday. I said, no, I'm having something. He said, no, cancel everything. We're having a meeting with you on Monday. So I took a flight to Nairobi. Monday morning I was in his office. He said, we are having so many integrity issues in Shell. Management have met, and they felt you are the only one who can rescue us from this direction. That's towards the end of 1980s. Then he told me, the main areas of corruption are normally in distribution, in procurement. Can't remember what the third one is. He said, John, whichever you pick, you will be the department manager immediately. A secretary will go before you reach Kisumu. So I said, distribution. He said, don't worry. Now you can go back to Kisumu, the secretary. And sure enough, within days, the secretary went out, or the regional manager, with that clarity. The reason I'm being promoted is simply because they are fed up with the issues of corruption. So I knew why I'm going there. And soon enough, it didn't take long for the contractors to feel there's something wrong. And the first thing they tried is to bribe me. You know, this person will come, you're a new manager, you are young, this envelope is yours. And Jirongo said 500 had just come. So they never bribe with more money. Because they want to call it Kitu, Kidogo. So they make it look small. in an envelope. Say, no. I'm not like that kind of a manager. For me, my salary is enough. Say, no, it's not a bribe. Nobody calls it a bribe. Have you heard of somebody who ever gave you a bribe? Nobody gives a bribe. It's a gift. It's a welcome. Say, no. Be assured your contract is safe with this manager. Even if I get nothing from you. You know what they do? They think if you refuse a bribe, it's because you're accepting from somebody else. So it takes them a lot of time to realize you are not accepting a bribe from anybody. Once that happened, the next thing was to gang up and get rid of me. That's when they now went to one of the top 5 to see whether he can get rid of me. Whether I can agree to resign or whether I can get fired. And they tried every trick. I don't have enough time to tell you all the tricks they tried. But it came out clear. I know I'm leaving. Because the guy told me without hiding, 2 of us cannot work here. And I knew it's because he is in top 5, where else would you report him? So it's me going. So I went and told Rebecca. That's why you need to marry a woman who also trusts in God. Because if she starts saying, what will the school fee? Where will you get the school fee? You'll be weakened. Are we together? Yeah, you need to marry a wife who will tell you, let's stand and wait on God. Jobless, penniless, trusting in God. You need a husband like that. But the important thing I'm giving you a testimony to understand the implication. I was able, just becoming the manager, to destroy all the cartels in distribution. Amen. Because you see now, they need my signature. And I'm not going to give it. So my boss says, you can't work here. That was around June. And I knew, I'm not waiting for him to sign. But of course, in a private sector, you need a reason. He needs to convince the rest of them, the other four. They need to be convinced what I've done wrong. Which, of course, he had a difficulty because I was performing okay. Do you know in August, I went on leave in August. I used to ask for leave when my children are on holiday. I was on holiday when somebody called me. They say, by the way, where your boss is no longer your boss. What happened? He was offered a job out of the country. He refused. He was still removed out of my division. He was right. 2 of us will not work. The only difference, it was him, not me. That was around August. By October, he was so frustrated with the new area. By October, he actually resigned and left the company, never to return. He was right. 2 of us could not work together. It's only I thought it was me to go. So all I'm trying to get you to see is that you must be a man of integrity. And number 2, you must ask for jobs in critical areas where you are going to make an impact. Lastly, I think we need a few people in politics. Unfortunately, just this week, somebody around 60-year-old wanted me to talk about his entry into politics. And I told him the unfortunate thing is that most of my friends who have gone to politics, they enter in politics this way, Jesus lives the other way. they don't see it either. However, the scriptures do not tell us not to enter politics. Are we together? So I told him, first of all, find out that the Lord called you. If he calls you, he will sustain you. But we need people in politics because a lot of the things going wrong are being supervised by politicians. Are we together? If you go there and you enter into a committee where they do something, you report them. Will they be able to do it? No. So you need to find a way of entering that area. And all those things are things we can actually do with the Lord's help. Does that answer the question? Here it is. You must pray. You must set a personal example. But there is more you need to do than that, just like the questioner asked. The other question that comes... Yes. Teach people to make the jobs. Are you getting the message? Yeah. That if you teach a child to be employed, you'll become employed. Anyway, the next question here is, and it's already 10 o'clock, that's why I'm trying to stop. Is it true that being a Christian, it is true that being a Christian is lonely. Our environment is so polluted that new norms of corrupt values have emerged. How can we reinforce these high values to those committed to Christ? I think I've already answered it, isn't it? Yeah, so I hope they get that one. The next one is asking, kindly touch on preparing for retirement for civil servants. Now, that is my topic tomorrow. But if Jesus comes, none of us will need to retire. But just so that you don't feel forced to come tomorrow, 4 things. Number 1, and we'll be discussing the details tomorrow if the Lord will not have come. Number 1, retirement is not biblical. You need to understand from the scriptures, every died working. So you who is looking for a time to rest, we are unbiblical. Just like there's a book, very popular but very unbiblical. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And encourages you to work by the age of 40, you stop working, your money start. Have you read it? Totally unbiblical. You don't work to have money. Even if you are rich, you still must work. We'll be going through that tomorrow. Anyway, the point is you are supposed to work until you die. What changes is employment. In other words, you can stop employment to change direction. So what we call retirement is actually change of jobs. For example, I work for Shell when it became 25, they called me an old man. But almost 20 years, I'm busy. I'll get in the point. And now I enjoy even more because those days I had to do what the company said. Now I choose. You can offer me a contract and I say sorry. So you need to understand, you do not look forward to resting. You should look forward to changing jobs. What you do and how you do it. And I think that's very important. Number 3, about retirement, is that if you have a life's calling is literally life's calling. It cannot be accomplished through employment. Because life's calling means what you do until your life is over. Are we together? The trouble we have is that many of us, if you ask what you are calling, you will say teacher. Teaching is not your calling. You only use teaching to fulfill your calling. So you must tell me, what is it God created you for? What problem on earth were you created to solve? And maybe teaching is helping you to solve it. And even if you stop employment in teaching, you still can continue solving it. Now, if you verify that, and if you go to my website, you'll see I've talked about that for quite a bit. My website is my name, www.johngaga.org. And you'll see what I give as my vision and mission. And up to now, even after I left Shell, I'm still doing it. So you need clarity of a life's calling. And once you have life's calling, there will be no time you retire. Because life's calling means the whole of your life. Finally, which is very, very important. I think the only place I agree is that you need to live a life where your younger years, you can do more than your older years. When you hear I'm over 70, there are things I can't do which I was doing 40 years ago. Because the body I can't run. If you run, the other day we were running with my grandchild, and they are very, who can have beaten you? I said, it's not winning. I simply am not in a level to run. So you have to find out what can you do minus running. If running is what you are doing earlier, and it was helping you to feel your calling, since the leg will not run at that speed, what will you do different? And that's why it is important as you in your younger days to spend time making money, putting some money aside, so that even your body can't do a lot of work, you will not rely on your children. Because it's unbiblical for you to plan to rely on your children. The Bible says it's children who save for it's parents who save for their children, not children for parents. Have you read that verse? But in men, it's the other way around. A parent assumes, once my children have graduated, I don't have to work again. Then you are breaking God's command. God wants you to live a life such that even after you slow down, you're still working, but slow down, you have saved some money which can support you, and you don't become an extra child to your children, to your family. You know, your son has 3 children, you become the 4th one. Because that's not all. Are we together? Anyway, we can discuss more on that. Not even understand what we can discuss.